All right. All right. Well, welcome everybody. We're very glad to have everybody here for the second in our series of the Spring Farmers Market Master Series. So we're really excited to have Kate Gurke from Experimental Station here today. Experimental Station is the lead for the Link Match program here in Illinois. So she's going to be talking about that. But first, just a really quick introduction about the Illinois Farmers Market Association. We really work to provide farmers markets with training on best practices, trying to understand some of the various barriers and challenges that are facing farmers markets, and try and promote the benefits of farmers markets as well as providing resources. Our Everything Local conference is probably the big event of the year. We offer 16 different farmers market education and training tracks during that time, not to mention the 100 other presentations that go on that are sponsored by other organizations that are part of the local food system. We already have the dates, January 27th to 30th of 2027. We're just finishing up our Certified Farmers Market Manager course. I think we actually even have probably one of our newer Certified Farmers Market Managers on the call today. But the next one will start in February of 2027 if that's something you're interested in. Market Mondays is just kind of our informal get-together that we host every first Monday of the month. We usually invite our partners to give us updates. We may have a short subject that we want to talk about, but the purpose of the call is to primarily give market managers an opportunity to ask questions or share ideas with everybody that's on the call. And then we provide webinars and the Market Master Series in the spring, and then we'll do some more in the fall. We will do occasional webinars during the summer, but we know that that's your busy, busy time. So we try not to offer as much during that period of time. We do try and represent farmers markets at the state level. We work with IDPH on food safety. ILFMA is part of the Illinois Local Food Roadmap Task Force and try and represent small farms and local food there. We work closely with Link Up Illinois and are really excited about that partnership that has grown over the years. And we do work with the Department of Human Services on promoting the Farmers Market Nutrition Program for both seniors and WIC participants. We work with a lot of state partners because ILFMA by itself is a smaller organization, but we find by partnering with all these other organizations, we are able to work more effectively and efficiently and really value the partnerships that we have across the state. We still have two more in this spring series. Next week is on emergency planning, but that's on a Tuesday. Most of these are on a Wednesday. And then targeted special events days is May 13th. You may have seen in our newsletter that ILFMA is partnering with, it's actually called Hy-Vee, even though it's spelled very differently than the Hy-Vee grocery stores we're all familiar with in the Midwest. They have a software system that is really built to help farmers market managers manage farmers markets efficiently and maybe streamline some of the work that you have and maybe even save some time. They will be part of our Market Monday call in May. So I invite you to join and hear a little bit more about that if that's something you might be interested in. We do have a lot of resources, so please go to ilfma.org and look at our resource page. As we work with partners, as we conduct webinars, as we do things, we try and take the best of what we've heard and some of the resources that have been shared and make sure that they get on our website. But that's all I have to say about ILFMA, and I'm going to turn it over to Kate and let you get started. You're muted, Kate.
Classic. Muted myself again and forgot. I can't see the chat. So if
Oh,
anyone is putting chat questions in, Janie, if you could just like let me know so I can answer in
I
the
will.
moment. Otherwise, feel free to come off mute and interrupt with a question if you need anything clarified. Um, but yeah, so I'm Kate. I'm the Farm Direct Program Manager for Link Up Illinois. So I'm going to talk about having Snap and Link Match at your market. So you hopefully have a good understanding of how that would work at your market, what you get from us, and what your year would look like with having those programs. So just to give an overview of what we'll talk about here, we're going to first just address who Link Up Illinois is, so you know everyone on the team and where we work. We'll talk about what Snap, Link, and Link Match are, so you know what those terms mean. And then we'll talk about steps that you can take to get a Link Match program at your market, run through what running the program at your market looks like every year, and then talk about some of the resources that we provide as an organization. So, who is Link Up Illinois? We are a program of Experimental Station, which is a nonprofit on the south side of Chicago in Woodlawn. We've been a part of Experimental Station since 2009 and have a mission to increase affordability and accessibility of fresh foods through doubling SNAP purchases at all of the partners that we work with. And we do that with the Link Match program. So, we work with farmers markets, farm stands, co ops, grocery stores, and many other places that sell food throughout the entire state of Illinois. We have two programs within LinkUp. So there's the Farm Direct program and the brick and mortar program. Both are issuing healthy food incentives, which is what Link Match is, to match SNAP purchases that are made at places that we partner with. So on the Farm Direct side of things, in 2025, we had 129 programs that ran. So any of you that end up applying for a Link Match program, you would fall into the Farm Direct side. That's all the farmers markets that we work with, farm stands, retail spaces that are more like locally focused. We work with some delivery and online ordering markets, some mobile markets and pop-ups, and then CSAs can also have a Link Match program. On the brick and mortar side, we had 28 stores that we ran programming in 2025. And so this is all of the co-ops that we work with. We had a corner store initiative in Chicago, some of the smaller scale neighborhood grocers. And then we partner with a few regional grocers throughout the state as well, Jules, Tony, and Cermak. It's not at every one of those stores, but we have a select number of those that we have programs at. On the team, there's four of us. So from left to right, Matthew Rufy is our senior program manager. He's who oversees the entirety of the program. Allison Baldwin is our program associate. They are looking at or working our social media and doing a lot of our communications and marketing of the program, and then assist with like some of the outreach to our partners as well. So that's a person that you'll probably directly work with quite a bit. Raja is our retail program manager, so she's who oversees the brick and mortar side of the program. So probably not someone you'll interact with, but helpful to know that she's on the team. And then I'm Kate, the Farm Direct program manager. So what is SNAP, Link, and Link Match? Just to run through a few definitions so that the acronyms that I'm using you're familiar with. So SNAP is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. This is the federally funded program that provides food assistance for low-income households throughout the country. An FNS number is your Food and Nutrition Services number. This is a number that's assigned to a market from USDA and certifies a place to actually accept SNAP as a form of payment. Link is the SNAP program that's specific to Illinois. Link Match is the vouchers that we provide for customers that they can use wherever they're a Link Match a program will distribute and redeem those vouchers if they are part of the Link Match program. EBT is electronic benefits transfer. That's the actual system that credits and debits benefits onto Link cards. And then HFIP is a healthy food incentive program. This is kind of like a general term that's used throughout the country. It's helpful to know that Link Match is an HFIP program, and you might hear about other programs like this throughout the country that go by a different name. So SNAP Link, we're just going to kind of talk about how those things relate to each other. So again, SNAP is managed at the federal level by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Funding and eligibility for the program is set by the Farm Bill, which is a piece of legislation that gets passed every 5 years if being passed appropriately. And that's what sets up like the big big funding and eligibility that people can expect for the SNAP program. And then, like what we saw in July with HR1, budget bills actually outline the spending plan for the program. So, who's paying for it and that sort of thing, and who can actually apply to get benefits. So, the big changes that we're about to see in a couple of weeks with people who receive SNAP benefits are the result of HR1 getting passed in July. Um, but as a market, you would be applying to USDA to get your FNS number, and that's what certifies you as a market to charge SNAP as a form of payment. Link is the program that's specific to Illinois. So every state has their own SNAP program that they administer. In Illinois, it's administered by the Illinois Department of Public Health. So when an Illinois resident wants to receive SNAP benefits, they're applying to IDHS to get approved for those and get issued a link card. The SNAP users of Illinois are issued what's called a link card, and those benefits are put onto that using EBT. And whenever you run a transaction, you're running an EBT transaction. So Snap, Link cards, EBT, they kind of get used interchangeably a lot. They're slightly but very related things. So it's kind of helpful to know how they relate to each other. So as a market, you'd be charging Link cards using EBT whenever you're running a Snap transaction. If you use them interchangeably, people will know what you're talking about, but it's just kind of helpful to know the specific definitions when we're talking about this program. So as a whole, we're always referring to it as SNAP whenever we're talking about charging people's cards and that sort of thing. Link Match is then a program that is available to you if you are able to accept SNAP, and it allows you for every dollar that a customer the SNAP customer spends at your market to distribute a dollar in Link Match vouchers. And so that customer now has the SNAP benefits and the Link Match vouchers that they can spend at your market and at partner markets. There are different things that both types of currencies can be used for. So your SNAP benefits you can use to buy pretty much all groceries that are in a grocery store, with the exception of hot prepared food, alcohol, and like toiletries and hygiene products. But fruits and vegetables of all forms and preparations are SNAP eligible. All meat, poultry, fish, dairy, breads and cereals, snack foods, non-alcoholic beverages, and one that people aren't always aware of, but plants that produce food for the household to eat. So seeds and starts are also SNAP eligible. Link Match has a limited list of things that you can use those dollars to spend. So you can buy fresh fruits and vegetables with your Link Match vouchers. That includes mushrooms and then the plants that produce food for the household to eat. We have a little video that I'm going to run quickly. This is something that, oh, you know what? I think I remember that this doesn't work when we're on Zoom. I'm going to try to play it, but I think the volume doesn't transfer over when I've been on Zoom calls. But if it doesn't, it's on our website. If you go to linkupil.org, it's like a 2.5 minute video that does a full summary of the program and how it works at all the different types of places that we operate. So Janie, if you could just like let me know if the volume's not coming through, then I'll just move on to the next spot.
No volume.
Okay. Yeah, I don't, this is like a Zoom thing that's been happening for me. I don't know why it's not working, but definitely recommend going to linkupil.org to check that out. So steps that you will take to get a link match program. First, you have to have an FNS number and you have to have equipment to run transactions at your markets. So to get the FNS number, you're applying to USDA to get approved for that. And then once you're approved, you also need to buy a transaction or buy equipment and a service that allows you to run Snap transactions. So a lot of people use like Square or Stripe. Those are transaction services or payment processors that don't accept Snap. And so you cannot use those to run those kinds of transactions. So you have to look into what types of processors will actually do that. A tip that we suggest to everyone that we talk to is to work with an organization called MarketLink. So MarketLink is there to help you with the FNS application process, which is really helpful because it's a big bureaucratic system. There are a lot of ways that the application process is set up is designed for stores and not necessarily markets. So sometimes knowing exactly what to fill in can be a little confusing. So working with MarketLink will ensure that you're answering everything correctly and help you feel confident in what the process that you've taken to get your FNS number. They're also there to help you with getting a payment processor and equipment set up. So they will set you up with a payment processor called Total Pay. And they also have grant funding available that can pay for the equipment that you need to purchase and associated fees that you will have. So every year you'll have to just pay a fee to actually use Total Pay services. And so they can help pay that fee as well. So to reach out to MarketLink, you can email them at info@marketlink.org. On their website, they also have an eligibility assessment that you can see if you are a good candidate to receive funding from them. But if you're also like, I just want to take care of applying myself and deal on my own, they have an FNS application guide as well. So you can look through that and just make sure that you're answering questions on the application properly. So once you have an FNS number and you have equipment to run transactions, you can apply to us. That's the only two criteria that we require, aside from also being in Illinois. So you can apply to us to get a link match grant. I have the grant linked here. It's also on our website. You can also email us to get it. So there's lots of different places that you can find the application when you're ready to apply. It takes about 30 minutes. Most of the information is just collecting information on how we contact you, when your market is, where it is, so that we can properly market it on our website and in our brochure. And then we just need to verify that you have an FNS number and get a couple of business information from you. So it shouldn't take more than like 30 minutes or so if you have all of your paperwork in order. The funds that you'll receive from us come with an 80%, 20% split. So most new partners that we work with, we issue $1,000 grant to start with, just because we don't really know how much SNAP is going to be used at your market and how much you're going to redeem in Link Match. So the majority of the funds that you're receiving from us are incentive funds, and these are what you use to reimburse your vendors for accepting Link Match. And then the other 20% is for administrative purposes. So it really is broad what you can use it for. It just has to have something to do with Link Match. Most people use it to cover a portion of someone's salary, but you can use it to buy marketing and outreach materials that have to do with Link Match, office supplies that you might need to organize the program itself. So as long as you can justify that it has to do with Link Match, that's what those funds are there for. I should also note with this, as you're submitting data to us, we're tracking how much link match your market has redeemed and subtracting it from the total. So while you start with $800 with that $1,000 grant for redemption, if your market is going to go beyond redeeming $800, we have funds to issue more so that you can get through the rest of the year. So we're always looking for that so that you're receiving more funds to run the program, not once you're out of funds, you're done with the program. So then just like some general things to just be aware of once you apply to us, what will happen for you. There's paperwork that we need submitted. So you have to sign a contract and an MOU and fill out an ACH and a W-9 for us so that we can pay you. We have a training that we run throughout the month of April for people that have applied earlier in the season. If you're a new partner applying mid-season, we'll just set up a one-on-one training, but that's where you'll learn about how to actually implement the program at your market. There's materials that we mail out to you. So you receive brochures, flyers, and vouchers from us, and a digital partner packet that has a lot of materials that we'll cover later. Once you're trained and have vouchers, then you're good to run link match at your markets. Throughout the season, you're completing weekly data submissions for us. That is giving us information that we need to submit to our funders on your program use. And throughout the year, if you have any questions, you're contacting us so that we can help you out with that. Once your season is done, we have an end of year report that you have to submit to us. This is where you confirm data that you've already submitted to us and make sure that your records and our records match up. And it's also where we get information from you on how the program ran and helps us kind of guide the next year and how we're going to manage that. And then every year you do have to reapply, even if you have remaining funds. The application is where we get the information that's most current for your market so that we can have that on our website and our brochure correctly. So if we're actually running link match at your market, this is kind of what your days will look like. So there's two different types of markets that we see in Illinois. The first is called the pay first system. This is where a customer is going to come to your information booth where you have your equipment to run Snap transactions and request that you charge a certain amount of money to their card. And so then you have to have a currency that's specific to your market to represent those dollars that you're charging to their card, that you'll distribute to them, and at the same time be distributing the same amount in link match to double their purchasing power at your market. Once the customer has their SNAP tokens and link match vouchers from you, they can go around to all the vendors at your market and spend with vendors on any eligible items that they're selling, and then leave the market with everything that they bought. So the pros of this is that it's a more streamlined shopping experience for the customer. So we'll see in the next version why you can get a little bit of a back and forth. It's also more popular in the state. So a lot of times customers will be kind of familiar with how this works because other markets work this way. And so you have that benefit. The cons are more for you as a market manager. You have a bit more back end accounting work. You're going to have to be counting another type of currency that you're administering. And you're also needing to make sure that like those SNAP dollars that you've charged are actually getting spent at your market. And then there's also just a higher upfront cost because you're having to buy a token or a voucher to represent SNAP currency at your market. The shop first system, the way that this works is that a customer will actually first go to vendors and pick out the things that they're wanting to buy. Then the vendor is going to issue them an IOU for the total of what they're going to be purchasing from them. Once they have all their IOUs for things that they want to buy that day, they would then come to the information tent and get charged for the total that they're planning on purchasing that day. So you would charge their card for the amount of the total amount on the IOUs and then distribute that same amount in link match vouchers so that they have those dollars as well to spend. And then the customer is taking a receipt or a stamped IOU that shows that they've paid for those items back to the vendor. And the vendor will then give them the items that they are picked out. And then the customer will leave the market with everything that they bought. So the pros of this one are kind of more for the market. For you, there's a simpler, more precise back end accounting work. So you're not having to count SNAP currency afterwards to know how much was actually spent. You can just pull that from your payment processor. And you know that every dollar that you charged in SNAP is getting spent at your market. It's also lower cost for your market. You're not having to purchase like a wooden token or a voucher that's specific to your market to represent SNAP. You're just kind of using the paper receipts that get printed or the IOUs that you're printing off. The cons kind of end up landing more on the customer and your vendor. So for the customer, there's a little bit more back and forth because they're having to go to the vendor, go to the information booth, go back to the vendor to get the items versus just two of those things. And then it's a little bit of extra work for the vendor. They're having to, write out the IOU, set aside produce so it doesn't get purchased, and make sure that that person comes and picks it back up. But both programs or systems work very well at all the markets that we work with. It's just kind of up to you to know your market and what makes sense for you. So we're going to kind of just go through quickly what the before, during, after is going to look like so you get a sense of the week. So before your market opens, you need to make sure that you have all the supplies that you need for the program. So you need a POS system that's charged and can run SNAP payments. You need information booth signage and vendor booth signage so that customers know where they use their SNAP benefits and how they can spend them with vendors. You need to have some marketing materials so that people can understand the program better. So the brochures and flyers, that's what we supply those for. You need to have a log for you to record SNAP transactions. This is there to help you with the data submissions that we're going to require from you. If you're a pay first market, you need to make sure that you have the currency for SNAP available. And then you also need to have link match vouchers that you can distribute that day. And then you'd want to organize something that we call vendor packet pouches. This is for your vendors to organize payments that are coming into them. So it's a spot that you'll put a log for them to write down what they redeemed in Snap and Link Match. And then if you're a shop first market, this is where they would house the paid IOU slips or receipts so that they can turn them back into you to look into and pay them back at the end of the market. So everything that's listed here and that is bolded is something that we provide for you as a program. So just know that those are materials that you're not having to create. On the day of your market opening, at the very beginning, you need to set up your information booth. Make sure your POS system, your SNAP tokens, link match vouchers, transaction log, and marketing materials are all at that information booth. And then distribute out the vendor packets and signage to your vendors so that they have stuff to organize throughout the day as people are spending their benefits with them. During the market day, SNAP customers would be coming up to your information booth, and so you're having to process transactions for them and record those on your SNAP transaction log so that you can easily submit data to us. Whoever is running your information booth, you want to be very knowledgeable about the program because they're going to be talking to lots of customers about it. So you want to make sure that they're talking, especially to SNAP customers, about how to use the program and how to maximize the benefit that they're getting at your market. So make sure people are comfortable with how to talk about the program, and that's what we're here for as well to assist with. And then it's helpful if you're able to take photos of the program in action. We have to create a lot of reports throughout the year. It's helpful to kind of have visuals for what information booths look like and customers actually using the program. Just make sure to ask before so that you're not surprising someone with a photo and making sure that they're comfortable with it. So then at the end of the market day, you're going around to your vendors and collecting the vendor packets that you supplied them with. This is where, again, all of the SNAP tokens and link match vouchers that people spent should be housed with each vendor. And then they should also complete a vendor redemption log so you can verify what they're expecting. If you had signage for your vendors, collect that again so that you have it in your hands. And then this is a good time to inventory your stock of things so you know what to be packing next week for your market. And then after the market day, this can either be immediately after the market closes or you can do it a few days later. You're going to need to distribute total all of the SNAP and link match that was distributed, numbers that you're getting from your SNAP transaction log. You can also verify SNAP distribution from your payment processor report. And that's going to give you numbers that we're needing in data collection. You'll then go through the vendor packet and count all of the SNAP tokens and link match vouchers that they received. Those are going to be the SNAP and link match redemption numbers that you're reporting to us. And it's also going to be the total that you now owe to your vendors for the week. So the next step that you're going to need to do is to actually pay your vendors for what they accepted. They're essentially in the red on a sale until you as a market actually pay them for what they accepted in SNAP and link match. The SNAP redemption numbers are paid to you through your payment processor, and the link match redemption numbers are paid to you through the link match grant. And because your vendors are not actually paid for what they sold until you pay them out, we really recommend that you keep up on this every week or at least every other week so that they're getting paid for their sales as soon as possible. At the end of the day, just make sure that you're setting expectation with your vendor so that they know when they can expect payment from you, and then make sure that you're meeting that. And then at that point, you have all the information that you need to submit weekly reports to us on program use. The information that we're asking for is all things that we need to include in reporting that we give to our funders. So we're asking for things because of that, and we're trying not to make it as we try to make it as non-cumbersome as possible, but it's all things that are being asked for by our funders. So there's kind of like three big categories of data that we're looking at. The first is your SNAP and link match sales. So it's going to be how much SNAP you distributed, which is how much money you actually swiped onto customers' cards that day. The next is SNAP redeemed. This is the amount that customers actually spent with their SNAP benefits with vendors that day. So if you're a shop first market, those are going to be the same every time. If you're a pay first market, someone might hold on to their SNAP tokens until the next week. So those numbers won't always align. Then we're asking about how much link match you distributed. That's how many of the physical link match vouchers you actually passed out to people. That should be a 1-to-1 ratio with how much SNAP you distributed if you're running transactions properly. And then the last one is how much link match you redeemed. So that's how many link match vouchers were actually spent with vendors. The next bucket is around customers and attendance. The first is around how many market customers you had. So the total attendance of your market. This can be just like an estimate. It doesn't have to be exact. It just kind of helps us categorize market sizes that we're looking at. And then we need how many SNAP transactions you ran, so how many times you actually swiped link cards, and then how many unique SNAP customers that you saw that day. So that's how many unique link cards you ran transactions on. So sometimes you have situations where a customer is going to run their card twice. In that case, they would have run two SNAP transactions, but they are one unique SNAP customer. So that's why we have the two different numbers for those. And then the last bucket is around your vendor makeup. So we need to know how many link match eligible vendors you had. So this is how many vendors are selling fresh fruits and vegetables, mushrooms, seeds, and starts. The next is how many SNAP eligible vendors you had. So that's all of your link match eligible vendors plus any vendors that are selling SNAP eligible items like meat, dairy, grains, bakery, snacks. And then the third one is how many total vendors you had. So that's all of your link match and SNAP eligible vendors, plus any other vendors that you might have had. So if you had like a hot prepared food vendor or like a nonprofit doing some outreach work, those would all get counted in your total vendor count. As an organization, we provide a number of things to help you with administering this program and marketing the program. So here is an example of the information booth at the 61st Street Market, which is the farmers market that Experimental Station runs. So a lot of these materials that are on here are things that are available to you as well to print and purchase. All these materials are also available in a number of languages. So we have English, Spanish, Arabic, Chinese, Polish, Romanian, Russian, and Ukrainian available for all of these materials. Those are languages that are notable at your market. You have things to help out people that speak that language. So physical materials that we provide for you, you are issued link match vouchers themselves. So these are the vouchers that you'll pass out to customers. So those are always coming from us. If you're a new partner, we also print and ship yard signs so that you have something to put on your information booth or at your market to show that you have a link match program. And then you also receive brochures and flyers from us. The brochure is a comprehensive resource of how to use the program for both farm direct and brick and mortar, and it has all the locations that we have programs at. And you can get it in both English and Spanish in physical forms. The other languages are also available; they just are digitally available. And I'll talk about another service that we have where you could purchase those in those languages if it's helpful for your market. The other thing is a flyer. This is like a half page flyer that has English on one side and Spanish on the other side. And it's more to distribute in mass to like community organizations in your area. It's a much cheaper resource to print. So we kind of like unlimited allow these for partners so that you can get these into the hands of people that are going to use the program. And then a number of digital materials that we provide for you. So we have something called a partner packet. Quickly before I get to the partner packet, all the materials that we're going to go over in that packet are either available for purchase from our print shop. We work with a printer, I Know Prints, and you can purchase those materials and you can also work with them to include some specific information about your markets. You're also welcome to use your own printer. It's just we have this set up so that it's easy for people to use and they also don't charge you for shipping. We also have a lot of these materials available in Canva. So we have customizable Canva templates that you can add information about your markets as well. So you can put in logos and market information so that you have both link up Illinois specific things and things specific to your market if you want to get those printed and made yourself. So in the partner packet, we have information booth banners that look like this. We have information like this. This is a two-sided material that we have that explains how to use Snap and Link Match at a Pay First or a Shop First market. And on the other side, it has a list of all the eligible items that people can buy with Snap and Link Match. We have this available in a double-sided postcard and also as an A-frame sign that you can get from I Know Prints. We have some 8.5 by 11 signs that are available for markets to just print off themselves and have at their information booth. So those can go in like a stand paper holder if as like a cheaper option to have at your information booth. And then we have a number of different vendor signs. So these are ones that you can get printed and laminate yourself, or you can buy from I Know Prints, and it's like a corrugated waterproof material. And these are ones that you can pass out to your vendors to show whether they accept Snap and Link Match, or if they're just a Snap eligible partner, to help your customers visually know where they can spend their dollars. And we're actually also updating this so that it can be available in Canva and with iKnowPrint so that you can replace the link card that's on here with whatever your tokens or vouchers look like. So that's going to be an update coming shortly as well. We have a number of social media posts available. We have them designed for Facebook. So there's like a cover that you can put at the top of your Facebook and posts that are sized for Facebook posts, and then a number of different Instagram posts as well that are sized specifically for Instagram. And then the video that we had that didn't work earlier, we also have a social media version of that as well that you can use and post. So this is helpful throughout the season. You're always having to keep your social media updated, and sometimes that's sort of like our lowest priority. So weeks where you don't have time to do something, you can quickly download things from our partner packet and get those posted. There's also a number of training materials that we provide. So we have all the templates that we go over, presentations for that we use for onboarding, some best practices guides on promoting link match, a video to explain how to submit data to us, brand guides so that if you're making any materials yourselves, you know what our colors and logos and fonts are, and then some peer advice documents so that you can look at other partners and what's working for them, and generate some ideas from your markets there. For Link Up Illinois promotion, our website is linkupil.org. So definitely one to check out and see what's happening there. On Instagram and Facebook, we're at linkupil as well. Whenever markets tag us who have Link Up programs, we're always reposting them on our social media. And if you add us as collaborators, we're adding you as well. When people apply to us, we're asking for their social media handles so that we can follow you and keep tabs on kind of what's going on and repost whenever possible. And then we're always available at a couple different peer networks. So on Mondays, as Janie mentioned, there's the ILFMA call the first Monday of the month. So if you're a market in Illinois, that's a good resource to attend. And also we are there to help out with any Link Up IL related things. If you're a market in Chicago, there's a similar call on the first Friday of the month. So another resource, but has to be Chicago local. And then as a program, we're running monthly office hours on the second Thursday of the month from 11 to 12. So that's also another spot to drop in if you have any questions about LinkUp and need something answered about your program. This is our contact information. We're super available by email and phone. Usually get back to you within the day. So if you have any questions about getting Snap and Link Match at your market, or any questions about anything to do with food access that we can maybe help you with, you can email us at linkup@experimentalstation.org, or give us a call at the number here, and we'll either answer or get back to you very shortly. So yeah, that is Link Up in a nutshell. Happy to answer any questions that anyone might have. And yeah.